Good luck.
Welcome everyone. Okay.
You are
yeah, for now.
The production specialist.
We have 7 minutes. Yep, you can go. You're live. Go.
Okay, so welcome everyone to the Comms API Meetup hosted by Infobip in Miami. I'm Nicola, the organizer of the meetup, and we'll be doing a short introduction. First of all, I would like to thank 4Geeks Academy for hosting us here in Miami. I'll just go quickly through our agenda today. I will make a quick intro. Our speaker, Dino, is here with us. We'll have his talk about Next.js and the SEO marketing. There will be some time for Q&A and, of course, to grab some food and meal. The general sponsor of the meetup is Infobip. I will just briefly introduce us as we are a global CPaaS leader. What CPaaS is communication platform as a service, as we have the widest reach of connectivity on the planet, and the only player with the global reach of over 200 countries. And now stepping into the US market with meetups in Miami and the other cities that we will be having. So check out our other groups on meetup.com. We are a global communication channels vendor and have the largest global mobile network operator network, more than 750 of them. So yeah, what are these channels? I believe you can recognize many of these applications. So where we fit in is that we can get the communication from you to others through these applications to support your clients, users, to deliver a notification, SMS, message, support request, anything you want to have for your clients, users, now name them however you want. In a nutshell, we aggregate all the technology behind the email, SMS, voice, chat apps, so virtually any channel that you want to reach out to your users, customers, you can just use Infobip and utilize all the channels at once to the end user as a single point of contact. So yeah, let's start. You know, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Nicola, for a brief. Oh, sorry, for a brief introduction. Can I have that? Okay, so.
I don't think your mic is.
Yeah, sorry. So this is our first time in Miami. I am a little bit under pressure, but I want to thank you all for being here and supporting us. So like Nicola said, this is one of our first meetups that we are doing in America. And hopefully my presentation will start soon. We'll see. Okay, yeah. So what I will talk about is how to increase your SEO with the creation of multiple static pages using Next.js. And I will connect that with an APIs that we have, and we need APIs that are storing some data for us. And that's, let's say, in the spirit of API comms, so we will mention that, of course. But first, I want to present myself. I'm a developer experience engineer at Infobip. I'm a lecturer at the University of Split. My languages are Croatian, of course, bad English, and C#, Python, and I'm trying to go for Golang. Golang, why am I trying to learn that? It's totally different than C# and Python because it's a functional language, and my point of interest are APIs, WebAssembly, and robotics. So you can find me at the GitHub. It's my first letter of my name, Dino, and my surname. And I have a personal page that I will show you later as an example how it is, let's say, bad to just construct your personal web page in a way that I did. So this is actually a presentation about a task that my boss gave to me, and the task at hand was like, okay, we have 5,000 companies that we need to target, that we have, let's say, integrations with them. And my boss said, okay, I will give you a list of 5,000 companies, and you will need to create 5,000 static pages for them. And as you already noticed, I'm a backend engineer, so I'm talking C# and Python, but this is actually a front-end problem. And my boss said to me, okay, here is the list of companies and 5 landing pages, and create 4,000 of them. And he said, this is a weekend project, but actually nothing is a weekend project in software engineering, as you already know. So I had a lot of questions. I had as an input like 5,000 companies and 2 landing pages, and that's it. So why are we doing that, basically? What am I doing there? What problem I am solving as an engineer? And what Ivan mentioned was this article that was basically about Zapier's growth. Zapier is company, US company, but we are not talking about Zapier, but the growth that they did, they generate, let's say, 7.3 million visitors per month on their landing pages, and they have succeeded that because they have great SEO that they constructed on their landing pages. And to know how they generated 7.3 million visitors, we will have to know what SEO basically is and how can we technically improve it. So input data for the project was a list of 4,000 companies. I have only 16 of them, but you can imagine the whole list. And the task was, okay, since we are working with an Infobip domain, we need to integrate with all those companies, let's say, in a way, and we need to create URLs, and URLs need to be in specific, let's say, order: channel, platform, and programming. So let's imagine we are, as an Infobip has a lot of channels, communication channels. We have WhatsApp, SMS, email. So channel will be one of them. Platform is the company that we are integrating with. And the programming language, it can be Python, it can be C# or whatever. That's the second input that I got from my boss. And the third one was 5 landing pages. From those 5 landing pages, 4 of them are just useless because, okay, I don't mind having this guy on my landing page, but I cannot use this landing page. I need to build another one. The second one, okay, my pointer just stuck. Okay, it was this. SMS, okay, I have a form here, I have a text there, but I cannot use this for a landing page because I would have to change this form and I would have to change this HTML. And since I'm not a designer and I'm not doing front end, I just disregarded this page and choose this one. This one is something that I can work with. It has our channel WhatsApp, it has a business account, so I can easily change the HTML and get all the information out. And it has a nice graphic here. So why am I doing this? Why am I talking about this? Is because if you create a great landing page And if that landing page is SEO friendly, then you will appear in the Google search before others. And that's the whole point of this presentation. You want to be the first result in the Google search, because people are searching for a lot of stuff, but people are also searching to solve that problem. So if someone has a problem, okay, how to integrate InfoBip with Slack, they will put it here. And if you have a good SEO and landing pages and the technology behind that, you will be one of the first results on the Google search. Because InfoBip services are digitals. We can market them in a way that we create great SEO, so we pop up in the first result of the Google. And as you already know, you can be the first at Google if you pay some money, but that link is sponsored, and we know that nobody clicks on that sponsor links, or majority of people are not clicking on that links. So all of these things that I'm saying, we will just try to improve our organic search results. And let's just repeat what SEO actually means. Stands for search engine optimization. And basically, we will talk about how the Google indexes stuff and how do we actually end up at first or third or second result in the Google search. And if we want to improve SEO, we have three pillars of optimization. The first pillar is, of course, technical. And we will talk about the technical pillar later in the presentation. Second one is creation. If you have content that is unique and that is something, let's say, special, then you will pop up first. Because if you are doing, let's say, some web page that is solving problems that already some other people solve, you will not pop up first in search, of course. And the popularity is important. We will talk about the crawlers and crawling of the internet, but the popularity means how many people or how many other pages are linked to the landing page that you are promoting. And let's say, how does Google index you, in fact? Because if you are trying to solve the SEO problem, you have to know how the technology works. So when you build a web page, that web page is online, it's living somewhere on the domain, and Google has bots, Google has crawlers that are visiting your page. And that crawlers are visiting millions of pages every day. And they crawl the web in a way that they are actually visiting your page, and in processing phase, they are rendering your page. And when they render the page, they are, you can imagine as if they are user that is opening a Google Chrome application. So they are looking what you have on your landing page. And when the processing is finished, the result is the indexing of the page. So if you have, let's say, great description of your page, unique content, and unique meta words, you will be indexed better than other pages. So what crawlers like? Crawlers like HTML because of the processing thing. If you are building your page that is JavaScript heavy, JavaScript will take a lot of processing, and Google doesn't like to spend a lot of resources on processing JavaScript. So basically, if you build your page in a way that HTML is presented, you will be indexed better, definitely. And crawlers like keywords such as title, description, and meta tags. What crawlers don't like is JavaScript. If you have your web page that is built with JavaScript, full of JavaScript, the processing is, like I said, expensive, and you will not be indexed well. So a couple of examples of that. The good example is my landing page that I got as an input data. You can see that the page has an HTML. Bots can read this. And bots can read, okay, get your own WhatsApp business account. They can read that, and they will index you better, especially if your information on the page is something that is unique in a way. And I have to mention my personal page that I mentioned before. was built in .NET, was built with Blazor framework. And what is Blazor framework? The Blazor framework is a front-end framework that will build your front-end in .NET technology. But that .NET technology is actually translated to JavaScript. So when bot visits my page, it will see nothing. The page will be empty for bot. Okay, the people can see that page. As you can see here, it's home. Hi, all, my name is Dino Lozina, but the bots see nothing because this page was built .NET. .NET was translated to JavaScript, and I cannot see anything. So you will not be indexed well. So if you're doing your personal page, don't do it in Blazor or any JavaScript framework because nobody will find you. But if you give them a link or something like that, just see the difference. Bots like HTML. So what can we do? We have a couple of rendering strategies. I will go quickly just explaining some of them. We are going now deep into technical stuff, so sorry about that. Static side generation, we can do that. That means that HTML is generated at real time, and as we already know, bots love HTML, and they will index us as a better result. We can do server-side rendering. That means that our page is living on a server, of course, but when the user visits our page, then the page will be rendered, not before. The static site generation means that that page is rendered always, and it's filled with HTML. Server-side rendering means that HTML is generated as soon as the user visits the page. So both of those things are good for SEO because they are building pages with HTML. But HTML pages, as you already know, as developers, are boring. HTML is just text, and we are used to live pages that change data, that when you click something, it feels like a button, it feels like live. You cannot get that with HTML. So we can something like incremental static regeneration. I will talk about that later. That we basically first create HTML page. Then after that, page becomes alive, and I will talk about that later in my presentation. The first thing that you can do is what I did with my personal page is client-side rendering. That means that when user visits my page, it will run JavaScript code in the browser, and the user will see my web page. But when crawler crawls on my web page, he will see nothing, like I explained before. Let's keep our task at hand. I need to create 5,000 landing pages. So do I just copy that landing page 5,000 times? Do I make a script and change the data on that landing page? Both of those solutions are very bad engineering solutions because we are engineers, we are not copy machines. So how can I maintain that code if I just copy that 5,000 pages? That first thing that came up to my mind is just not good. So I noticed that probably someone had a similar issue with those landing pages and creation of the set landing pages. So I Googled for a framework, and I knew what I really need. I need something that can generate URL dynamically. I need to change data on every page. That are two, let's say, most important things that I need to do on my landing pages. And I searched on Google, found Next.js. Next.js is a JavaScript framework. It's weird that I'm creating HTML and static pages with JavaScript, since I told you that bots don't like JavaScript. But Next.js has some features that I need. It has hybrid static server rendering, route prefetching, and the most important thing, no configuration is needed. So that's why I opt for Next.js. And to create the Next.js application, like I said, it's a JavaScript framework. It's based on Node.js, of course. To create application is very easy. You just put in a terminal npm create next app, and you will get the application. So now we will dig in the code, and I will show you what will happen when you create Next.js application. You get structure like this. You get some components, node modules, pages, APIs, public styles out of the box. But the most important thing is how to figure out how to create a URL. The URL is created for you when you create a file in the pages folder. And that's about it. So we don't have to worry about routing. We don't have to set up manual writing. If I put page that is named engineer in the pages, I will get the route here. So that's the half of the problem solved. If I can get my 5,000 pages in that folder, I will create the routes for all of them here. The second thing is that next is a JavaScript framework, but it pre-renders every page. What pre-rendering means is that I get the HTML as soon as my visitor visits page. It's important for SEO because when crawler visits page, it will see HTML and crawlers like HTML and they will index us better, definitely. And like I said, HTML is boring. If we pre-render HTML page, it's just text. So we need to do a hydration so that we get the pages that are responsive, that we are used to, that you can click, change data and everything. So we get the best of the both worlds. We pre-render the page for the crawlers, they will index us better, and we hydrate the page after so we get the live data change and whatever we want. I made a mistake while I was working on my page because I don't have pre-rendering, so the bots see nothing. Google sees nothing. Nobody will see me. And after the users clicks and the JavaScript runs, I will get the hydration. So people will actually see my web page, but nobody else from, let's say, Google. And Next.js has some built-in functions that I really need. One of those is static generation with data. So Next says, okay, if you have a web page, you can make an API and get the data for that web page. So basically, your static page is just an HTML, but you can create an API and fetch the data that you need to change. I will show afterwards as a result what I mean by that static generation with data. And the second thing, okay, let's just see the code for the static generation with data. So essentially, I have a list of 5,000 pages. I need to change data on one page. So this method getStaticProperties allows me to tell Next.js, hey, this page has some dependencies like company name, language, or something else. Change that data on build time. And Next.js also has URL creation that depends on external data. It's the same principle, but it is not considering the data on the landing page. We can do basically an API that can call some other service, and we will get the dynamic URLs. And the code is more or less similar, but it has different meaning. GetStaticPaths means give me the URL that I need to show in my Google search, let's say, in a way. So basically, this is my solution here. I have to say that, okay, I need to create 5,000 landing pages. I need to publish them. I need to maintain them. So I did it like this. I have an API on backend. This was the easy part because I'm a backend engineer. I did an .NET API application that takes all those 5,000 companies and saves them in the database. And that API is also what it's doing. It creates URL combinations for all the pages. I will show a URL afterwards, but if you can remember, it's channel, platform, and programming language. So Next.js app is basically at the build time asking API, okay, give me the company's data and the URL. And then I build Next.js app, I will get 5,000, 10,000, or 15,000 static pages, no problem. But this is my solution here. And it's all possible because of these two methods, get static properties and get static paths. And that's the programming magic that Next.js is doing for me, that I don't have to copy paste many pages like I mentioned before, or do some weird scripts and have a code that I cannot maintain. So I will show you the end product. This is the end product of the code. Remember, instead of 5,000 pages, I have only one page that is in square brackets called ID, and it sits in the pages folder. So if I can change this ID dynamically, and that is something that this API is working for me, I can have as many pages as I want. So all the pages will be the same. It will have the same design, but that the data on the page will change. So what did I get out of this? I have one page that I need to maintain, that I need to change, and it's, let's say, a good solution. If I need to change some styles, CSS or JavaScript, I can do that only on that single page. And the result of this project is basically this. I kind of reminded that we have a task that creates a URL channel platform programming language, and the solution is here. I have the landing page that will live in a domain of Infobip, and let's say that we are using WhatsApp channel. And you can see the URL here is changed. I have it WhatsApp select Python, and the data on the landing page changes as well. We have WhatsApp select Python keywords, and we can optimize for SEO search because this will be pre-rendered, and the bots will hear or see HTML only there. And the second example is if we change the data, we have WhatsApp, Salesforce, and C#, and we can make many pages as we want. The Next.js doesn't care. Since API is providing all the data, we can just program as many pages as we want, and that's about it. So we have a best of both of worlds. We have a landing page that has different data, and we have URLs that people can search. And hopefully, if we do it in this manner, SEO for our integrations will be much better since this is all HTML. And that's about it, guys, for me. That you have a lot of questions. Okay. And maybe I have some questions.
You're going to show the demo?
Okay, I can show the demo as well. Yeah, okay. Enough about talking. I can show you what I did exactly. Yeah. Trying not to break this. Let me just reconnect to the chat. Okay, I need to turn off my camera. Just give me a second. Disable video. Okay. Okay, looks nice. So this is my API. Basically, it is built with .NET because, like I said, I'm a .NET engineer and I feel most comfortable in this language. And this is my API that is serving data for Next.js. But what is the most interesting thing is that, okay, I will run this application. API is running in the background. But the Next.js part is the most interesting part. So I will try to show you the code. Okay, this is my .NET application here. And let's run the Node Next.js application. I'm running it in Visual Studio, in Visual Studio Code. Yeah, thanks, Ivan. And this is my boss that gave me this task. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see the structure, I can create as many pages as I want, but I only maintain this one. And all the HTML is here. So if I need to change the style, I can do it only in one page. So that's the magic here. I can create a million pages and I need to only maintain this one. That's the best engineering solution that you can have. And what is changing on this landing page, as you can see, we have a channel, platform, and language. If you cannot see it now, you will see it later when I demo it, but this is channel, platform, and language here. So it's plain HTML because we know that crawlers like HTML, and the Next.js will re-render this page. Let's run this application. It runs like node npm run dev. So hopefully this will run. I'm so scared when I'm live coding or starting something, but yeah, it works. Perfect. And my test server is localhost 300, and hopefully we will see the page. So this is the starting page that the boss gave me. Get your own WhatsApp business account, but I changed this. And if we created the dynamically sum of the pages, and if I visit, let's say, for example, WhatsApp Slack Python, you will see the change here. So this is the basic landing page. If I visit it with WhatsApp Slack Python, you can see the change here. It's WhatsApp business account and it's selected Python and URL. You cannot see it, but I can read it for you. It's WhatsApp Slack Python. And you can create as many pages as you want. So when people are, like I said, people are always searching for solutions for some problems. So if someone searches for, let's say, how to integrate WhatsApp with Slack, Infobit will turn out as the best solution. And you will get the organic customer, and maybe you will, let's say, sell your product to them if you are solving their problem. And that's about it. If you have any questions, and I have one more example that I showed you already. So, okay, it's kind of slow, but it changed. In this page, I can put as many pages as I want. I put one as an engineer just to show how dynamic links are created. So if you tap inside, like engineer, yeah, it's down there. You can write something out, and that's about it. Thank you all. Do we have some questions?
Yeah, so where did I'm seeing this view. Where did the platforms and channels reside in the table? Where is the data?
That data is called.
It's not in the JS file. Or yes.
It's not in JS file. It's in my .NET application. .NET application, you can. This is my .NET application. I need a .NET API, and Next.js is asking for .NET. Give me the data and the URL, and that data is not obviously in the CSV file. It is in the database, or for the demonstration purposes, I put it here in the JSON, just so we can test it here. So my API is holding this data, and it's communicating with the Next.js. and it will give all the data necessary to create a landing page. So because we are all here because of Comms API, APIs are the most successful pattern how applications communicate. So as you can see, my JavaScript application is in JavaScript, and it easily communicates with .NET or C# or any other application. So that's the benefit of APIs that we need to keep in mind. So the great companies like Google, Infobit as well, and big companies are doing microservice architecture. So basically this is a microservice architecture on small scale, because we have only two applications. One is written in JavaScript and second one is written in .NET. And because we have an API that can communicate together and exchange data. So the short answer is data lives in my .NET API.
When somebody asks a question here, if you can just repeat it so the online people can.
Okay, the question, yeah.
When they ask, just repeat the question so the people online can hear.
Can I repeat the question of Nicola, or does it make sense?
I think it makes sense, but the next one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The question of Nicola was, where is the data for the landing pages? And that's about it. Yeah.
How much planning did this? So how much do you plan? And how much code went in? For planning, more coding, more difficult.
The more difficult was planning.
Question.
The question from the audience was like, was it more that okay, what took longer, planning or the code? I would have to say the planning, because as you can see, I can show you note, Next.js code is simple. Just wait for it. It has only one landing page and we are changing data. So exploration part was the difficult part, to find the right framework and to figure out how Next.js is doing stuff behind the scenes. So I would have to argue that planning was the biggest part of this project. Sorry?
How long did it take?
My boss was saying it's a weekend project, but it was like a 14-day project. Want to make it clean and useful and maintainable, so you can deploy it after. Yeah, but the first version was like in a couple of days. But if you want to figure out everything and have the right architecture, so it's like I would say 14 days for both applications, for Next.js and the .NET application that I have, because now I can use it everywhere, and it has clean code. And if I gave it to some other developer, he can continue to work on this project, and he will not ask many questions. So that's the goal when you're building this kind of stuff.
So I can now do it in a day.
So Nicola was asking, can he do it in a day? You can do it in a couple of hours now when this is set up. Okay, Ivan has some questions.
So was that right? Then the weekend job. You can ask the question.
Yeah, it's a weekend job. My boss is asking if it's a weekend job or is it like 14-day job. It's a weekend job when you have all the planning done, like you said already. The coding part took me like 2 days, but the planning stuff, like I said, because the coding is not so difficult. I think that everyone can learn how to code, but we need to learn how to solve problems. And that is the planning part that you were mentioning. If you know how to solve problems, you will figure out the programming. Disclaimer, this is the first time I was programming with Next.js, and I figured it out in a couple of days. So the programming part is easy, but the planning part and to figure out what SEO actually is and what Next.js actually is, let's say, the most difficult part of the project here. Yeah. Any questions? We can wrap it up. We want to thank you all for. Yeah, one question.
You guys do it again. What would
If I have to do it again, what would I have to do it differently? I had a lot of issues. I would create my own HTML and design because landing pages that I got were full of JavaScript. And Next.js is a JavaScript framework, and it's based on React. And you cannot just copy paste the landing page inside. I had to do a lot of work to manipulate to get this, let's say, first page here. It looks simple, but wait a second. It looks simple, but it's not. I have a delay with this. It looks simple, but it's not. It was full of JavaScript, so I had to clean the code up. And it was the toughest task because it was not just copy paste landing page into Next.js. I had to do a lot of work because React has its own rules. They are a little bit different than the landing page that I got. So I spent a lot of time just figuring out how to import that landing page in the Next.js. I have to do cleanup. So what will I do differently? I will just throw all the landing pages out and not use them and build my own and have a designer of my own. And that's something that I would do, yeah. Sorry?
Did you have to deploy?
Did I have to deploy? My boss is always telling me you have to deploy. But I haven't deployed it yet. Yeah, because I need to explain what I need to explain is that can you show please my presentation and the solution part? Is that possible? Yeah. Because you have to deploy it in let's say 2 servers. I will explain why.
Oh, then I gotta get it online.
Okay, just give me a second, please. Okay, perfect.
How far? All the way at the end?
Yeah, solution part. Yeah, cool. So I have 2 applications basically. So the Next.js application and the 5,000 pages or 6,000 pages or 1,000,000 pages I can deploy on Vercel, and it's easy. I can deploy them there, and the Vercel is a server of Next.js. That's the easy part. But I also need to deploy my .NET application somewhere. I need a space for this application. And I cannot deploy this application on Vercel. It's not possible because it holds my data. And I can deploy it somewhere on Infobase server or any other server. But I need that so that those 2 can communicate as an API exchange, let's say. So we will deploy it hopefully next week when we come to Croatia. This weekend, yeah.
It's still not deployed.
Okay, thanks. Any questions?
What did I miss? Like everything. Like, Dino, you can do it all from the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, we can wrap it up so I can talk with you and explain you everything that you see here.
Yeah, one-on-one.
Yeah, one-on-one.
I'm sorry, I really missed the part that in the backend, the .NET API, where is it deployed at? On what kind of server you deploy those services? The app?
Okay, I heard the question.
That's coming from online.
The .NET API?
question from
on the
online.
backend?
Yeah. Okay, the .NET application, the easiest, let's say, the solution is to just put it on Azure. Azure is Microsoft server.
Okay, Azure, okay.
Yeah.
The cloud, I got you.
The cloud, yeah, exactly.
All right, do an instance on the Azure and then deploy it over there because I have for .NET libraries. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
All right, that was it. Thank you.
Any more questions online? I got a lot of questions in the end, so this was a success, I think. Yeah. So. And this is the first time I'm doing this presentation live, so thank you.
Great presentation. I really like the diagram that you have right now because it gives you the big picture of what's going on. You have like a 3-tier system, and in the back end, you have a database that is connected to .NET API. So I'm not sure you're hosting also the database on Azure, but you probably could be hosting it anywhere, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Okay, you have bring some pizza outside, so enjoy.
Yeah. Part, so in the sense that. Yeah.